Felix brought it up. I have to mention this on the topic of Israel, the most normal country in the world. I'd like to share another American media headline. This is courtesy of the New York Times, Patrick Kingsley and Aaron Boxerman. This is a headline from just yesterday. Unrest at Army base highlights a long battle for Israel's soul.
Unrest at Army base? Unrest at Army base? How was the fucking play, Miss Lincoln?
I would just like to say
unrest at Army base.
I'd like to say
what the fuck are you talking about? It is the closest that country has come to, like, I'll put it this way: their Nat Turner would be a soldier who raped 20 children. Like, that is all that it is about. Unrest at a fucking army base?
I go to the New York Times for the theater reviews, and all parties agree. Our American cousin, a barrel of laughs until the final act. No, like, so Israel has actually had to withdraw soldiers from Gaza to put down the civil unrest of settlers aided by MPs in the Israeli Knesset storming military bases and military courts to free the special rape unit of the Israeli torture regime. And like Séamus, I mean, like the way a battle for Israel's soul. I mean, coming from the New York Times that has leaned heavily on the mostly totally spurious depictions of Palestinians as sadistic, depraved sexual predators. The fact that they can't bring themselves to put the word rape and torture in the headline here is really saying a lot. No, it's unrest that's a battle for a nation's soul. What fucking soul? What nation with a soul would this be a, like, real serious political problem in?
They're talking about it like it's the Biden 2020 campaign.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? I stupidly thought, oh my God, like, this is beyond horrible. This is one of the most depraved things I've ever heard in a lifetime of watching depraved Israeli shit. But maybe, just maybe, it will be unconscionable for, like, some people in the liberal media to, passive voiceify this whole thing. Maybe this was the turning point. No, it turns out there's nothing that could make them do that.
Sorry, the subheadline for this is, after Israeli soldiers were detained on suspicion of abusing a Palestinian, riots broke out that symbolize a wider struggle over Israel's future. Abusing a Palestinian. One guy
abusing a Palestinian, like they gaslight someone that they were in a relationship with. That could mean anything.
The torture unit love bombed.
They love bombed one guy. They fucking. They left him on red. It isn't a mass pedophile rape campaign.
It says here, it's suspicion of abusing a Palestinian. It said riots broke out that symbolize a wider struggle over Israel's future that has divided a country. Yes, this is all in the realm of the symbolic here. The systematic rape and torture of Israel's political prisoners. It's a symbol for the soul that's being argued over in the Israeli public. I mean, like,
Jimmy Savile and all those terminally ill children, they were in the second battle for Britain. It was a fight over what British values will prevail.
I mean, Séamus, like, obviously, like, this is the way the American media covers this, but, like, I'm curious, like, how is the, like, Arab press like, metabolize this story? Or, like, I mean, obviously this should be, like, nothing new to people who live in the region and have to live next door to a country like this. But, like, how would you characterize the reactions to the story about the I'll put it in the quaintly, the civil unrest happening over carceral practices in Israel right now?
What I've noticed is that Arab commentators and Arab newspapers are far more willing to engage with the actual views of the Israeli far right and of the Israeli governing parties than Western correspondents are. Like, there are the people who are paying attention to the shit that's on, like, the far right channel 14. They're listening to what Likud MPs say. They get spread around and then they get actually reported by people, because this is what's relevant to the discussion, not what gets disseminated into, the English language Israeli press that Jerusalem correspondents love to read, and what determines that. No, I mean, this is nothing like, this is both not new and something new. This is not new in that, of course, Palestinians have been abused horrifyingly in astonishingly depraved ways for decades. But the fact that it caused a riot of people trying to defend it, I noticed people like really kind of taken aback by. I can't name any like specific newspapers in which I saw such a thing, but if you look on Arab social media or Iranian social media, like everybody's talking about this in very explicitly about what this is about. Like they're not mincing words about what has occurred here. No, I mean, I think people, if Western readers, if Western consumers of media, of journalism, knew the kind of political discussions that occur inside Israel on a daily basis, I genuinely think a lot of them would abscond with the country entirely if they actually knew what was happening. Because no normal person who has not lived inside of a Nazi state, when they hear a politician say, it's okay to rape a Nukhba terrorist, there is no one on the planet who is not insane who hears that's like, whoa, wait a minute. Let's roll back here.
Yeah, this is, a tertiary part of all of this every time that there's an Israeli news cycle. But every single time you get one, you get like a certain type of journalist who says, hey, white people specifically, you're taking away agency from people in Gaza by saying they all think a certain way or do a certain thing, like a very specific, like they would have been a Vice reporter like 8 years ago. That type of journalist. It never gets applied to Israel. No one ever talks about let's give far right Israelis agency and broadcast what their actual views are and what issues are up for debate in their parliamentary system, which in this case is whether or not it is possible to rape a non-Jew. That it never gets applied the other way. There is no agency on that end because, as you said, if the average American had any clue to what is up for debate in a fucking Nazi ethno state, it would be a lot harder for them to just passively defend this.
And I don't want to credit the United States government too much, but I remember like similar debates happening under the Bush torture regime, and when we were talking about waterboarding or like 24 like Jack Bauer scenarios. If there's a nuclear bomb ticking down, you're telling me you're not going to pull out the fingernails of the asshole who planted it in Times Square, shit like that. But like all of our horrific and like just horrific depredations on human beings and human life and dignity were always couched in the term of like a ticking time bomb scenario, or the idea that there was some sort of actionable intelligence to be gathered here. And what I find striking about the debates currently going on in Israel about the soul of that nation is that there is no pretension whatsoever that these people are actually even Hamas terrorists, or that they have any, or that raping them will, shake loose some secret details about Hamas's organizational structure or military tactics that wasn't previously known. This is purely and loudly announced to be a campaign of purely sadistic retaliation on Palestinians, men, women, and children writ large for what supposedly occurred on October 7th.